Welcome to Tech Talk, the one-of-a-kind television program where you show you the technologies that are driving Belize forward and the key actors in the driver's seat. Tech Talk features everything tech, from the mobile data that powers your Instagram DMs to the artificial intelligence and smart systems being utilized by some of Belize's leading tech providers and even our government. Without a doubt, technology is one of the primary catalysts to drive the country and economies forward. So here we are for Tech Talk, brought to you by the Public Utilities Commission. I'm your host, Kimana Barrow. When we think of technology and how humans utilize it, interact with it, the internet immediately comes to mind. And of course, in Belize, when we think of internet, we think of Digi, formerly known as BTL. And so, for our premiere episode, we're featuring Digi to help you get a clear understanding of all the work that goes into enabling you to download your photos, send messages, and even have phone service. But before we get into that heavy tech talk, we want to take you back to Digi's recent Tech Expo, where local and international experts gathered to demonstrate the latest tech.
There are infinite possibilities everywhere, and only the imagination and the creativity of our business partners, of the people here, set a limit or remove the limit of what these possibilities are.
Great stuff. I'd like to welcome tonight's guests, CEO of Digi, Mr. Rucker Schreiber, and the CIO, Mr. Moshe Smith.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. To get the show rolling, we'd like to start off with a new technology, the bottom line, Digi. Perhaps in Belize, but the region, technology is fiber, right? So tens of thousands of Belizeans are on fiber. They're using Digi's DigiNet service, and everybody's talking about the speed. But what really is fiber? How does it work? What's the difference between fiber and DSL?
So technically, going into it a little, fiber is really just glass, and it's pretty much signals that's transmitted over glass. Copper now is actually, well, DSL is copper, and it's a little bit different. It's a little bit less tolerant to the weather, unlike fiber. But for Belize, really, fiber means endless possibilities. It means connectivity. It means unlimited speed for our customers, and it means unlimited possibilities as well.
Very well said. That's what fiber does. It opens up new frontiers. It opens up new possibilities. To put it in a simpler terms, it's kind of like, you had a DSL would be like a bottle post where you put a message in a bottle and send it out, and it will arrive eventually, and sometimes not. And the fiber, compared to the bottle post, would be something like the Pony Express, something that goes way faster, and you know where it's going and where it arrives. And over the history, we had a number of such leaps in technology where it's all about getting the message across as fast as possible in as accurate way as possible. It took months to get a message from London to here a couple of 100 years ago. Now, it's not only a message, you can send a whole movie, have a live conversation with somebody across the world in a matter of seconds. And this is what fiber is opening up. It's setting the path for the ongoing and continuous development of communication, advanced communication.
So this advance in the internet services for Belize, I mean, in terms of what it means for us regionally as a nation, right? Many people in the audience maybe don't travel as much. So in terms of the region, how does our network now compare to the region?
Well, for us, we have a world-class network deployed within Belize, and this is something that has not been done in a lot of the major developed countries as well. You go to the U.S., in rural U.S., there is not connectivity like you have in rural Belize that we've deployed. Europe and the Caribbean, and even Central America. I don't think any country can boast the coverage that we've deployed across Belize when it comes to fiber. We've touched every major town, every major village, and every major city or two cities in the country, and connecting tens of thousands of our customers to our fiber service. So for us, what this means really is we've moved Belize well ahead of a lot of the other countries that are ahead of us, maybe economically ahead of us, or were ahead of us from a technology standpoint. We're now either right in run with them or probably.
Right. So all these people are now connected. Yeah. So that opens up, as you said, possibilities for them. What are some of the possibilities that it opens up?
So the possibilities that it opens up for the Belizean public is really, so there's employment opportunities, more employment opportunities. There are a lot of jobs right now on the internet available for remote workers, remote call center agents, automated assistants or assistants that can assist you remotely. So there are a lot of internet-related jobs as well. Then we all know there are YouTube stars, there's Instagram stars, and we've now opened up that opportunity to Belize as well. Because with the proper connectivity, you don't have to worry about getting your information or your message out to the world. And so for us, really economically, it signals a big growth for the country.
So, Mr. Schreiber, you said, it's like the Pony Express. So what kind of boost can that give to the economy in your mind?
There are various statistics, but one statistic says that for every 10% increase in broadband penetration, there is about up to 2% growth in the gross domestic product, the revenue that the country generates. And that is significant. We are talking here about hundreds of millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And when we think about what DigiNet has done for the country so far, 2 years ago, we had less than 19,000 subscribers on a DSL network. Mm-hmm. Now, we have 27,000 households connected to the DigiNet network. So that is, if you think about in terms of penetration, if you go from 19,000 to 27,000, you have added 10,000 households. That's more than 50% increase in penetration. So over the number of years going forward, we can see a real potential for growth and real potential for development of the economic potential of the opportunities for the country. And
are there other possibilities in terms of, you hear about things in the States about people, not having to go to the DMV to get a driver's license, that kind of thing. You think that kind of thing is going to be possible here in Belize, where the government can start doing online services?
Absolutely.
Yes. So yes, it's completely possible, and it's possible because of the fiber that we deployed. But governments are able to do e-government, where consumers or customers or the population doesn't have to leave their home in order to apply for a driver's license or apply for a passport. And it doesn't even stop at government. Businesses now have the ability to expand beyond where they are, beyond just Belize City. If you're operating in Belize City, you can now do business all across the country. There are a lot of new startups that are popping up across Belize right now as it is. I won't call the name, but there's a food delivery app that is now taking off. Mm-hmm. And without this type of connectivity, that's just not possible. It's a completely app-based solution where you can order your food and it's delivered to you just based on ordering it within the app. Before we had connectivity like this just was not possible. So, new entrepreneurs, new business opportunities. So it's really, the growth is going to be massive over the next couple of years.
And so, you talked about that. So what are some of the things that BTL is doing in terms of education that you can point to?
So we have an exciting program that we are launching called Digi Learn. Okay. And Digi Learn, really, the genesis behind it, or the idea behind it, is really to put technology in the hands of Belizean students, to put them in a position that they can compete with other students from other countries. And so what we've done really is we've partnered with one of our biggest partners, which is Microsoft. and leverage their educational platform that they've developed for major countries in the US, Puerto Rico, and other places, leveraging that plus our partnerships with our hardware vendors to deliver to students and teachers both hardware, notebooks, computers, and applications that they can use to deliver education within the classroom effectively, and also to be able to manage a student remotely for parents. So for us, that's really big, and really and truly, it's building the future.
That's a very interesting thing, because I mean, we've heard of projects before with laptops for kids and that kind of stuff, but it's very important to be able to have the connectivity that you guys are providing, but also the management software that you're talking about, which is very critical. Is that something that's going to be run from here in Belize, or how are you guys doing that?
We are running it from here, and using the best of breed components for the best partners we can find to bring this breakthrough learning experience for our future, for the future generation. There's an interesting fact, and we learning every day as we go through this project, because nobody has done it in Belize like we are doing it now, and it's there are new things that we are discovering. So an interesting fact that there was a report prepared by the World Economic Forum about future of learning and future of job opportunities. And in this report, actually in the chapter number 1, they are using one statistics that 65% of the children that are now in primary schools will be employed in jobs which do not exist right now, or in jobs which are dramatically different from anything that we know right now. So that's a big number, but what does it mean, 65% different jobs? It means you have to learn.
Sounds staggering.
It sounds staggering, but it means that the things that we know now might not be fully applicable to these jobs. So how do you prepare for a future, for a career that does not exist yet?
It's a very interesting question.
Exactly. So that's the difference in the Digi Learn approach that we are bringing here. It's not about learning just the facts. It's about learning to learn, and learning to use the technology, learning to collaborate. The Digi Learn project is not only about, okay, here is a laptop, here's some software, here is a task from the teacher, go and do it. It's a collaborative effort.
Okay.
So the students work in teams to complete assignments, to come up with ideas how to make it better. And the experience to them is now actually very natural, because they're already used to chat on WhatsApp, from social media, exactly. Yeah. That's the point. What we see, the behaviors that we see now in their social media lives, the new ways of communicating, that's really how the jobs of the future will be executed. So now we need to start bringing that behavior and these skills into the classrooms, so that the kids learn how to apply it, not just for sharing the latest
so that they can
video.
truly be the digital natives that they supposedly are.
That's it.
Okay.
And just to add, what we've done, and you mentioned that there have been a lot of programs like this across over time within Belize, but one of the differentiating
around the region,
in Belize, all around the world, one of the differentiating factors for us is we've actually invested in teaching the teachers first.
Okay.
How to build their curriculum using these tools, how to deliver education using these tools, and then we train the students on how to utilize it. Now, fortunately, students and kids that age, they're very receptive and they learn very quickly. Actually, we find ourselves they're finding out things that we're like, okay, whoa, this is a different way of doing it. They're testing every aspect of the system. And then you also mentioned the connectivity aspect of it. What we've done to complement this and actually to support all the educational institutions across the country is every educational institution within or DigiNet coverage area now receives 500 megs by default for free from Digi, and that's one of the ways we're giving back to the community as well, and putting really the power in the hands of the schools, of the students and the teachers to be able to excel.
That's good. That's interesting. So, what are some of the ways that businesses have already been taking advantage of fiber, like the possibilities, the things that they have now been able to roll out that they weren't able to roll out before? Because sometimes before, like I know, like you said, not to mention somebody, but I know a company that had a product that they wanted to roll out about 4 or 5 years ago, but it wasn't possible because of the level of connectivity that people had in their homes. They couldn't receive the service, right? So that company now is probably going to roll that service out, hopefully. But there's other companies doing things now that, are there companies that you can share with us, or is it all top secret?
No, we don't do top secret. We like everybody to know what we do so that then they can actually contribute. We kind of changed also the name of the game. Instead of trying to be, let's do it ourselves, let's collaborate. Remember what I said earlier. The world is changing. It's all about collaboration. It's about contribution of the society. It's social experience. And this is now also something that we see happening more and more in business. It's 1 + 1 can be 3 if we work on it. So to address your point about top secret, we don't do top secret. If anything, we do no secret. So there are businesses, some of them are benefiting from this in very simple ways. Hotels now can take advantage of our Digi Wi-Fi, which is a managed Wi-Fi solution running over our fiber. So the guests no longer are screaming at the poor receptionist in the middle of the night, I cannot watch my Netflix, because it works. That the hotel can actually take bookings because it works. I mean, these are very simple things.
Yeah, but they add value to the economy.
They take away a lot of the headache and frustration, which now can be those cycles, those mental cycles and productive cycles can be dedicated to figure out, well, how do I make the stay for the customer better? How do I make the experience really memorable so they come back to Belize? Or they post a beautiful picture on Instagram and get millions of likes, and that's what we see. And now we see also more hotels and hotels actually engaging with social influencers. Because the connectivity is there, hotels are now actually inviting social influencers, people who have lots of followers on Instagram, to come and stay with them. And in exchange, they get comped on room and food, but they have to post so much and so much engagement, and then the hotels are visible. But they can do it because the social influencer is in a country where the connectivity works. So when they post, it's out there, seen by millions of their followers. So that's a very specific example of how our work, how the work of our teams is changing the opportunities for one of the most important, one of the drivers of the economic development in Belize.
I can see you guys are very passionate about this, and we could talk about it for a long time. But we're at that segment where we have to go away for a short commercial break, and when we return, we'll have our first installment of Street Tech and more Digi. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Tech Talk, 1-hour television program where we showcase both the basic and complex technologies that are being employed in Belize, making our lives easier, processes more efficient, services more effective. I'm your host, Kimana Barrow. I'm joined by Digi's CEO, Ruckus Schreiber, and their CIO, Mr. Moshe Smith. Before we continue with our discussion, let's take a look at Street Tech to hear what Belizeans think they know about technology. It's like a pop quiz. Let's see how good they do.
What's larger, a gigabyte or a megabyte?
A gigabyte.
A gigabyte.
A megabyte. A gig.
Giga?
A gigabyte.
A gig.
When we say 1 gigabyte, do we mean the speed of data or the amount of data?
The amount of data.
The amount.
An amount of data.
The amount of data. Well, I suggest maybe the speed for me.
Amount.
Amount.
And when we say we have low bandwidth, what does that mean?
That means the internet connection is slow. That means you're probably receiving less data. I have no idea.
Internet slow.
When you have low bandwidth, I don't know, when the signal isn't strong.
The speed that low.
Low bandwidth. Low internet.
Slow. Slow internet.
Always great to hear what people already know. And from the looks of it, it looks like the younger people know a lot more. They're a little bit savvy. Viewers, earlier we went deep into a discussion about fiber and the exciting potentials that it represents for a developing nation. But now we're going to discuss those most advanced possibilities that are already introduced or being explored in Belize. And one of the most exciting things in the tech world is artificial intelligence. You know, robots, self-driving cars, all that. But when we think about that, we should be thinking about AI. And AI is already in Belize. Most of us don't know that. Let's take a look back at Digi's recent Tech Expo.
What we have here, there's not much to see because this is the future of computing. You don't see anything. All you see is this flyer saying, Dana, Digi's automated voice assistant. Because what Dana is it's an algorithm. We call her, but it's an algorithm that exists on Amazon Cloud. But now, when you call 113 for directory assistance, you are actually talking to Dana. And she will tell you the name or the phone number that you're looking for. She will give you advice. And directory assistance is the first skill that we have taught Dana, right?
Correct.
There are more skills that are coming. So later, if you want to know your balance or you have a question about our service, you want to clarify what DigiNet Basic, DigiNet Double, DigiNet Triple is, Dana will be able to assist you and help you with your queries. Dana is going to take away some of the mundane, repetitive tasks. Right now, lots of our customers don't get the service because there is not enough resources to pick up the phone. However, with her and her assistants, we can improve the experience for our customers, and then our employees can spend their time on higher value add activities. So it's a win-win.
Wow, Mr. Smith, that's a wonderful new feature. What kind of things has it freed up for you guys?
Well, for us, what it has done is it's freed up our call center to deal with more complex issues for our customers. And so they would have traditionally answered the phone when you call in and ask for person X number, and they would then look it up and say, okay, this is the person's number. So Dana now is able to actually listen to you when you call in and then give you a number based on that. And if there are multiple numbers, then she will tell you that there are multiple numbers and can give you any one of those numbers, and you still have the option of going to a human, but what's the sense when you have Dana, right?
So Dana can understand us regardless of the twang that we use?
Well, so a lot of technology.
You know how Belizeans are. We will test technology. I mean,
and we've been tested.
Okay.
We've been tested. So a lot of technology and a lot of work went into getting this to actually work the way we wanted it to. We know as Belizeans, we have varying accents. Mm-hmm. It might change depending on the part of the country that you come from. And so we worked with linguistics experts to understand speech patterns, to understand languages better. But the big thing about Dana is that she's actually a living organism. And what happens is the more you interact with her, the better she learns. And so your experience might be that you call in and ask for a number today, and Dana was unable to understand you, but you call back tomorrow and she's able to understand you. Because based on all the interactions, we're training her to understand. And so all that data then is being crunched in the back end by our artificial intelligence solution and or analytics solution. And then we're also then enriching that with pronunciations from different persons, from whether it be females, males, individuals with different accents. And based on that, then we build her ability to understand better.
Interesting stuff. So Dana's learning.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that they will reach a point where she'll be doing other things within Digi?
That's correct. We are developing other skills for her. So she will be able to answer your usual standard service inquiries. What is my balance? What type of data package I have? Even provide some service. You tell her, I would like to add this particular product, or tell me what are the promotions today. She will be able to answer these simple questions. We'll keep on training her, and as we go through these processes, that will allow us to focus more and more on the customers, on the really complex issues. We know there is a lot of demand for good quality service, and we also know that we are not there yet. But by combining the skills of artificial intelligence with the amazing skills and dedication and passion that our employees have for the work they do day in, day out, we will be continuing to push and improve the experience for all our customers. And that's the beauty of the technology. It makes the humans stronger. It makes them more capable, and it gives them the tools to be more effective.
So how long has Dana been in operation? Have you, I mean, is there any feedback you can share with us? Have you had, like, you know, people saying thumbs up or complaints?
Sure.
Or?
So Dana, she's been in production for 2 months, a little over, going
Since
on
end of March.
Since end of March. And the feedback, we've had mixed feedback, but mostly good, simply because you're able to get your number when you call in rather quickly. And so the feedback, really, there are some challenges in terms of the different accents, but that's, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's being overcome by the way we're training her to understand better. And from a customer standpoint and from a statistics standpoint for us, what we've seen is a huge reduction in what we would call abandonment of customer calls. These are customers that would have normally called into the center but wouldn't have gotten in contact with somebody immediately because they were busy on another call.
Oh, because they were holding.
Yeah, and you would be holding for a minute. You'd probably hang up because you're on the line for too long waiting.
I'm impatient.
Exactly. And so now what we've seen is we've seen that pretty much taken a nosedive, and we're now well below 10% in terms of abandonment as it relates to the specific direct queries. Once we then train her and she's almost there, she's actually already answering the more complex questions, then we expect that abandonment rate to go down to very, very limited. And like Rahas mentioned, then our reps are able to do more for our customers and actually interact with you better. So
but in terms of how would you say she compares to you know, the AI we all know, Siri or Amazon's Alexa? I mean, what's the comparison in terms of Dana's ability to understand when somebody talks in the broadest scale and could talk?
So we have some statistics comparing the Dana recognition percentage versus Siri, and it is at par, and in some instances even better, because Siri has a rather broad scale of functionality. Dana currently is geared towards recognizing queries for directory. Tell me a number for this and this. So she has a very good pattern recognition. Now, the people behind it, it's not, you know, the artificial intelligence is not something that come out of the thin air or ether. It's people, and the team behind it that we are collaborating with is actually led by somebody who was at the very onset of Amazon's Alexa. So this is a highly experienced, highly professional team that combines technology, linguistics, pattern recognition, artificial intelligence, data processing. It's a multifaceted team that we are bringing here.
Okay. Now we want to move on to another exciting topic, the potential that fiber offers, the citizen security. Take a look at this clip we have from the recent Digi Expo.
The next exciting capability is what we have in smart cities. So it's again artificial intelligence, but now artificial intelligence combined with optical recognition. So here, these are our partners from Huawei who are bringing this amazing technology to us. So please, tell us a little bit more about what we can see here.
Here you can see our facial analytics, and this camera is detecting all the faces. It stores it in database. As soon as it detects my face, it pops up an alarm, and the police officer will be notified that I have to be inspected properly. It can be used in many different spheres. And as for a blacklist, for example, if a system detected my face, we can make it like close the door, open the door, call police, send SMS, send a push notification to your phone, etc., etc. Also, we have license plate detection system, which works same way as the facial, but in this case we detect license plates here. And for example, if there's a car stolen or some fugitive on a car, we just put the license plate number of the vehicle into the database, and it will trigger an alarm as soon as we see the camera. This is a digital technology and it requires bandwidth. Depending on the number of cameras, the more cameras we have, the more broad, the more wider channel you need. So this fiber optics work BTO has done will be very good for these types of applications. So just imagine, let's say if you have a proper connection between local sites and the data center, there is no need to install big servers in the local sites. You can just install a camera, link it with the data center, and that's all. All the processing will be done in the data center. So it really helps to improve the technology.
processes.
Yes, it improves the technology and it makes it cheaper, much cheaper. Because, for example, if you install it at your house, you do not need a server now. You just install a camera, connect it, that's all. And you can use the laptop just to operate with it.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So how important is fiber to something like that?
Well, without fiber, this just would not be possible. Think about doing this over a DSL connection. It just doesn't make sense. It just does not work. The data isn't transmitted fast enough for any system to be able to do an analysis of somebody's face and then look it up and figure out who you are and trigger the different things that the gentleman spoke about. So the reality here is fiber made this possible and is going to make applications like these and even more safe city solutions possible for Belize as well.
You said safe city. So what are the other things that you guys are rolling out as a part of the safe city besides the facial and camera license plate recognition?
The system has, because it's artificial intelligence, it can be trained to recognize various scenarios. Obviously, we're talking about safe cities, but think about it as a business person. Right now, businesses are installing their cameras and they see what's happening in front of their store or inside the store. Mm-hmm. But think about seeing, okay, there is a crowd of people moving. And if you are as a business and this artificial intelligence recognizes there is a crowd of people or there is some sort of a gathering, it would allow you to prepare. Maybe there is a opportunity to sell something. So it would give you advance warning. If you are a business owner, it can alert you in advance if there is somebody who is of dubious reputation coming towards your store, that you might want to keep an eye out. This person has a history of taking a 5-finger discount.
Correct.
The range of options is really unlimited. It's being used. This technology is being used not only in cities. The technology is being used also in agriculture and forestry. Automatic detection of forest fire. And ability to address this before it becomes a fiery inferno is of tremendous value to any country. It's being used, and we saw some deployments of it even in fisheries, where artificial intelligence with optical detection and optical recognition is monitoring schools of fish and alerts for the right times of feeding for that. It's being used in monitoring herds of cows and saying, okay, this is where they are, so you don't need so many dogs chasing the cows around. The range of application for this technology is really unlimited. What we are doing right now is testing it. We are piloting and we are trying to push the boundaries of what is possible. Okay. We're trying to see where does it break first. And then we say, okay, well, this is up until this we can go safely, and then we'll wait for another year before we break it again.
Okay. So what roles does Digi play in seeking tech partnerships? I mean, do you bring people to Belize just for your internal uses, or are you bringing people to Belize for everybody?
Well, think about what you saw at the beginning of this show. Mm-hmm. The Tech Expo was not for us, and as I said, we are about partnerships. We are about connecting people and creating an environment for collaboration, because communication makes only sense when people have something to communicate about, when they have something to exchange. So for us, it's really important that these partnerships, the skills that we bring into the country, are visible and used by as many Belizeans and as many companies working in Belize as possible. So the Tech Expo was a great example that what we say, we do, we share.
And I think importantly, what Belizeans are seeing happening in front of them, and the transformation of Digi, is really that we're not a telecommunications company anymore. We're a technology company. And because of that, like you rightfully said, we bring partners to the table that can work along with our customers to enhance what they're doing and what they're delivering to their customers. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, that's important to us. So for us, it's full technology first. That's what we're pushing. That's what we're selling. And that's what we're promoting.
So you guys mentioned your partners with Microsoft, right? That's with their the AI is run on their Azure system, and Huawei is the fiber and everything. So in terms of the geopolitical scene right now, what should we be worried about in Belize with this Huawei and Mr. President 45 in the north? I mean, is it something that Belizeans should be worried about, be concerned about?
It's something that we need to be aware of. It's something that we are concerned about, and we are taking steps to address it. Huawei is a very large company. They make $100 billion in annual revenue, so it's not a partner that will disappear in a blink of an eye. However, we do work on contingency plans. We understand also with Huawei how we can replace certain parts of the supply chain if they cannot fulfill it. So it's not a situation where this business will suddenly go out of business. And there are lots of opinions about what's actually happening, and is it a security concern or is it a commercial concern about who will lead the next wave of technology on a mobile space. I'm sure you have heard about 5G. So that's the next thing after 4G. And why is 5G so important? Well, if you think what 4G did for the global economies, the spectrums alone were costing billions of dollars that the governments have raised in UK and in the States and in other countries. On the back of this spectrum auctions came a massive investment into technology. That was hundreds of billions of dollars that were invested into technology, into services that are now running on the 4G LTE. Before 4G LTE, before 4G, Apple would not make sense. And if you think about it, when came Apple? It was 2007. That's when the first iPhone came out. And that's when 4G was really taking hold. And the whole app economy exploded into a $1 trillion business. What 4G was to 3G, 5G will be to 4G, and even more. So imagine then the amount of money that's at stake, the investment and the profits that can be gained. So whoever controls 5G has a potential to make lots of money. And right now, Huawei is a technology leader in this space. So obviously there is possibly a discussion around this power, negotiating power. And what we see is different opinions. Somebody says it's a security issue, somebody says it's a business issue, somebody says it's a personality issue. The truth is probably somewhere in between.
Probably. So now, with all of this investment, all of this technology that you guys have deployed here in Belize, Belize is about the bottom line. Where does this put us now on that list? You see that list that comes out every year that tells you, we are ranked this amount on the internet speeds. Where are we now?
So from an internet speed standpoint, you're ranked based on mobile fixed. We actually moved up in mobile coverage with the deployment of our 4G network, and we continued moving up as well. It changes on a monthly basis. We're about 40 somewhere.
Somewhere we are in the double digits. Let's put it this way, and moving up. But what is really exciting is on the fixed networks. When we started in 2017. The average speeds in Belize were less than 5 megs download speeds. And we were kind of there. There was Syria, there was Yemen, countries like that, Iran, Iraq, and then there was Belize. Now, we are nowhere near there. We are ranking really high up in the region. A few months ago, we were actually in the top 5 for the region in the download speeds and continuing to move up. But the really exciting thing is, if you think about the value for the customer, how much does it cost? So right now, you get for the same amount of money that you paid 2 years ago for 1 meg, you get 10 megs. For the same amount of money, you get 10 times more speed. Now imagine if fuel was like that.
Be careful, Mr. Shah. Gentlemen, I must thank you for appearing on Tech Talk. It was quite enjoyable. At the close of this segment, before you leave, do you have any final or exciting news you'd like to share with us before you say goodbye?
For me, it's simple. Look out for what's coming from us, from Digi. There's a lot on the horizon. We're investing in technology heavily. It's evident based on the things we're doing, and there's more coming. And we have an excited, talented team behind us that's pushing this forward. And you'll see a lot more of us.
Mr. Schreiber?
Well, this year will be actually the 30th anniversary of BTL, first annual shareholder meeting. So that is a big day and a big round number. So we are all very excited about this opportunity to be here and then show the amazing progress that our people, that our teams have done for themselves and for the country. And this is what it's all about. It's not a company, it's the family of people who work at Digi, who come in, day out, and bringing transformative experience for themselves and also for the families that they serve and for the country. And this is really the exciting. We don't even know what's all the great ideas that our people have. Mm-hmm. But I see it every day, the energy, the creativity, it's coming up, and it is all powered by the technology that we have. So it is very exciting, and we are just starting.
Impressive. Thank you, gentlemen. Viewers, now we'll take another commercial break, but stay tuned because the show gets even more fun and exciting when we return. Viewers, it's now time for even more exciting tech talk. In this portion of the show, I step back and turn the cameras over to Corey for tech news.
Hi, I'm Corey, and I'm your tech news correspondent. Every so often, a new app emerges and we go crazy. We dive in, wondering how we ever lived without it. And usually, after a month or two, we thirst for the next big thing. We're all guilty. But sometimes in tech, the next big thing is actually seriously big and changes our entire life and the way we operate. In the first installment of Tech News, allow me to tell you about the next big thing, 5G. The G means generation, so 5G is the 5th generation of mobile network technology, a way for devices both mobile and stationary to send and receive data without being plugged into a wall. Of course, we currently have 4G, and before that it was 3G and so on. For most people, 5G is exciting because it promises to be at least 20 times faster than the most advanced networks today. Pretty much, you'll be able to download an entire movie in 1, 2, 3 minutes. But 5G has much bigger potential than that. Whereas existing networks connect people to people, the next generation will connect a vast network of sensors, robots, and self-driving vehicles through sophisticated artificial intelligence. The so-called Internet of Things will allow objects to communicate with each other by exchanging vast volumes of data in real time and without human intervention. The future landscape of warfare and cybersecurity would be fundamentally changed by 5G. And this is the backdrop for the tension between the US and China and which country will launch 5G first. But even before any country gets to launch, we have to wait. As exciting as 5G promises to be during this development stage, it has been receiving strong opposition and criticism. Some people say that the technology poses major health risks. The way Wi-Fi is transmitted is similar to the way microwaves are transmitted to cook or reheat your food. The only thing, 5G's microwaves are speculated to be over 10 times more intense than a kitchen microwave. People claim that this intense exposure can increase cancer risks for those who are exposed. So, for now, 5G remains stuck in development and testing. In other tech news, Facebook has announced that it will be paying people who allow them to study what they do on their phone. Meaning, Facebook wants to see what apps you have installed, how long you use them, where you live, and your trends. Truly, I thought Facebook has been doing this all along. Maybe they should consider back pay. I'm sure more people would sign up that way. Next, Most of us should know about the wildly popular transport service, Uber. If you're in certain countries, and Uber is always only 2 or 3 minutes away, and $6 later, you're well on your way to your destination. Well, Uber also transports food through their Uber Eats service and will now start using drones to deliver food. I can already hear it. It's a bird, it's a plane. Oh no, it's just my McChicken with extra fries. Yep, but for now, the company says they will only pick up the food using the drone and drop it off to one of their cars. Then a driver will deliver it to the customer. Hashtag avoid crash landing drones in living rooms during developmental phase. Well, that's it for today's tech news. Be sure to tune in to Tech Talk every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for tech news and more. Until then, I'm signing out.
I find 5G indeed to be truly fascinating. And as fascinating as a technology as it is, the financial and political implications it poses for our systems is being played out. It's been suspected that superpowers are jostling for proprietary rights over this technology. And with that comes high-tech drama. You know, like all kinds of colors of drama. Now we move on to another cool segment of our show, Tech Tips, sponsored by Digi. Alana will share genius tips with us that will leave us thinking, now why didn't I know that?
Technology moves fast, sometimes way too fast. Many people struggle to keep up, and most of us don't make the most of our tech, simply because we don't know enough. I'm Alana, and I'm here to help you make the most of your tech and to avoid common mistakes through Tech Tips. Picture this. You're away from your home, probably out shopping or hunting down food, and there's one thing you're craving above all, Wi-Fi. You keep refreshing, hoping that an open Wi-Fi network presents itself. But I have a big tip for you. Avoid using public Wi-Fi. No, I'm not a spokesperson for any internet company trying to get you to buy mobile data, nor am I crazy. But public Wi-Fi is not safe. Even if the network is password protected, other people on the network can see what you're doing. And if they're tech savvy and have bad intentions, they could even find a way to access your personal information, your pictures, your videos, your documents, and even your passwords. If you feel like you really have to use it, or you want a safe way to use public Wi-Fi networks, here are 4 tips to help you be secure. Number 1 is don't do any banking on public Wi-Fi. Number 2 is to ensure that sharing is off. That way others can't get into your files. Number 3 is to use HTTPS before you type www in your web browser. The S allows you to browse sites securely. And number 4 is to use a VPN if possible. This is a virtual private network. It routes your internet activity through random IP addresses, giving you an added layer of protection. So there you have it. Avoid public Wi-Fi networks if you can. And if you need to hear it in simpler terms, your granny might say, free thing, not always good. Keep your data safe. For my second tech tip tonight, viewers, please be sure to safely eject your USB drives. Most of us do work on the go and we're always rushing. Late assignments, overdue work tasks, printing 20 pictures for your child's Infant 2 homework, and the list goes on. When we're in a rush and we're finished using our flash drives, following the safe eject procedure is something most of us ignore altogether, even though we get the warning every time. But is this really safe to just pull out the flash drive? Computers do something called writing caching to improve performance. Basically, if you're saving or copying files to your drive, you may get a notification that it is completed. But really, the actual tasks aren't always completed until we hit safe eject. Basically, the drive collects all the tasks we've assigned to it, and it completes them all at once when we're ready to stop using it. For the drives to get it done, it needs us to tell it, hey, Mr. 8GB flash drive that we bought 3 years ago, I'm ready to safely eject. When you don't hit safe eject, you run the risk of your copied or saved files being inaccessible, corrupted, or even worse, the entire drive just might catch feelings and stop work. You've heard this before, haste make waste. Don't gamble with your precious documents. Wait 10 or more seconds and ensure that your drive is safely ejected. You can thank me later, or now. I have time. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of Tech Tips. I hope you feel one step closer to being the next Mark Zuckerberg. See you again next week.
I'm one of those people that uses a VPN because I know the dangers that are out there. Dangers that some people just can't imagine. That's why you should always use a VPN, always. Some people aren't even interested in your money. They're not interested in anything like that. Your office gossip. What they want is your data, because with your data, they can find out all kinds of things about you, the people you love, the people you don't love. And our data provides, in a sense, free research information to these people. But that's a whole other episode of Tech Talk. Thanks for coming, viewers. We'll see you next time. We're going to close our show tonight. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in and hope you're here for much more information of the world of tech that is thriving right here in Belize, as we saw tonight. I'd like to once again thank our guests, Mr. Schreiber and Mr. Smith from Digi, and I hope we get to see them again, and when they return, real soon, to tell us about the things that they're doing in technology in Belize. Of course, a big thank you is owed to Corey, our tech correspondent, for his tremendous tech tips and detailed tech news, and our sponsors, the Public Utilities Commission and Digi. Catch us again next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Channel 7 and our Facebook page, Colorblind Multimedia. Until then, good night.